I get so many questions through email, DMs about raw diets. Ever since I've posted my raw diet video, you may have seen it, you may have not, but I wanted to give you a quick, almost starter guide, beginner guide to raw feeding and how to go about doing that with your dog that you want to transition from kibble to raw. Now, I have a 2.5-year-old Cane Corso. He's been on raw for 2 years, and the main reason I put him on raw was because he was having a lot of digestive issues, vomiting, diarrhea, and all of that from kibble. Even switching to the vet prescribed kibble that was supposed to be better for him didn't make a difference. Prior to the vet kibble, he was on a grain-free, high-end quality kibble, and he was still pooping everywhere. Pooping all over the walls, literally. He was pooping on the walls. Now, before I get into this video, if you like this kind of content, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new and upcoming videos. I'm going to try to post a little bit more. And if you have any questions after this video, feel free to leave them down below or shoot me an email. Now, there's tons of different ways to go about feeding your dog raw. I'm not going to go into all the different models such as Prey or Barf, which are two different models that some people follow. I'm just going to let you know how I went about doing it. Remember, I'm not a vet, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a guy who loves my dog. If you have any questions about what the Prey model is, what the Barf model is, use your Googles. Use your Googles, people. Don't ask me. Use your Googles. Don't be one of those people. Use your Googles. Now, raw can be great if done correctly. If done incorrectly, it can lead to long-term health issues because of nutrient deficiencies, so we want to avoid that as best as possible. So don't expect to just feed your dog some chicken every single day and think everything is going to be great. My dog's on raw, he eats chicken. No, if you're just feeding your dog the same exact meat every single day, you're going to cause horrible, horrible issues in your dog. I mean, think about it. What if you ate chicken every single day of your life and that's all you ate? You're probably going to end up very sick with a ton of deficiencies. Now, I personally don't feed Bruce Wayne, my Cane Corso, any fruits or vegetables. One reason is he's extremely picky and he won't even touch them. Now, before I let you know what I feel you should start your dog on, let me just give you a few things to expect when you transition to raw. One thing, shiny, shiny coat. Just look at my Instagram, JasonCorey411. Go look at my dog. He's amazing looking. He's so soft. He's like a plush teddy bear. It's insane how soft this guy is. And he barely sheds unless he's blowing his coat twice a year. But his coat is impeccable. Next, I was actually worried about this at first. All of a sudden, he was hardly drinking any water. I'm like, why isn't he drinking anymore? He used to drink 2 or 3 bowls a day. Then he'd just go to 1. A big part of that is because, think about it. Meat is so fluid filled. So just by eating a raw diet, he's getting so much hydration from that. And also, when a dog eats kibble, they need to drink a lot of water to have the kibble expand so it passes through their digestive system and out their bum hole. So there's no need for that anymore either. So their water consumption is going to greatly reduce. So if your dog drinks 2 bowls of water a day, you may just see him drinking 1 or maybe even less than that. So don't worry about it. There's nothing to worry about. That's totally normal. Another thing is he's going to have a lot less poop. Bruce's poop, he's about 145 pounds, like I said. Maybe a couple of these a day, maybe. If I'm not feeding him too much organ, they're typically hard, and then they just dry up and turn into like almost stone-looking dust. It's great. Compared to kibble, it was a mess in the backyard when he was on kibble. It was a complete mess. At first, your dog actually may start shedding more, and you're like, why is my dog shedding more? I put him on raw. I don't want him to shed a ton. I want him to have a beautiful coat, and now he's just shedding everywhere. And a lot of the times you may see that because your dog's detoxifying. It's kind of like their body's response, getting used to the meat, you know, getting used to that whole food, getting rid of that processed crap. So just basically blow their coat again and start from scratch. If your dog's experiencing skin allergies, a raw diet may also help alleviate some of that or all of it together. Not 100%, but it could possibly help. Another thing is, I know I just talked about how Bruce's stool was impeccable after going to raw. You may have issues where your dog starts getting diarrhea at first just because they're not used to digesting it. One thing that may help alleviate that is just add a little bit of pumpkin, pure pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling. Make sure you get pure organic pumpkin. And I just give them a tablespoon each meal, and that should firm things up pretty quick. Now, I feed Bruce an 80-10-10 diet. And what's that? What's 80-10-10? That is 80% lean muscle meat, 10% bone, and 10% organs. And out of that 10% organ, 5% is liver. They get all their vitamins and nutrients from organs, so organs are highly needed in a raw diet, as well as bone, because they need calcium and phosphorus in their diet, especially puppies, because they're growing, but even adult dogs need it. So if your dog won't eat bone, then you're gonna have to substitute with, a bone powder, make sure the ratio is right for calcium, phosphorus, that type of thing. So the big question, so what do you feed your dog starting on raw? How should you go from kibble to raw? Do you slowly take out some of the kibble, slowly add in some of the raw meat? Do you do it all at once? The way I did it was kibble was one day, I removed kibble, and then the next day was raw. Some people do it that way and they fast their dog one day in between going from kibble to raw. So he'd be on this kibble one day, the next 24 hours, no food whatsoever, just water. And then the third day you start introducing raw. I didn't do that. It's not gonna hurt your dog too. Some days Bruce won't eat at all. Like he's went 48 hours without eating. It's just his choice. He fastens himself. He never died. He's still good to go. Now, when starting a raw diet, a lot of people are gung-ho and they want to throw all the meats at their dog at once. Let's get this going. But I highly, highly suggest not doing that. I would stick to meats that are easily digestible, chicken, turkey. But with that being said, I would opt for turkey more than chicken. It just seems that dogs tend to have more chicken allergies than they do turkey allergies for whatever reason that is. I'll buy a whole turkey for Bruce, but you can't just buy any turkey. A lot of turkeys have added sodium to them, for example, and you do not want that. Do not buy anything with added sodium in it. It could poison your dog if he has too much sodium. So just look at the ingredients. If you buy like a frozen turkey, just look at the ingredients. If it says turkey, sodium, don't buy it. The ingredients should just say turkey, and then you should be good to go. So like I said, go slow with this. Maybe just the first 3 to 5 days, all he's getting is turkey. Maybe turkey with bone and no organ meat. Organ meats are much richer, so organ meats are tricky. They're not bad for your dog by any means, but for example, if I give Bruce too much liver, he gets cannon butt, where he will literally, it looks like a water fountain of just poop, just whoosh. So you don't want to overdo it with the organ meats. So to allow your dog to get used to raw, I would highly suggest just sticking with white meat and bone and let him get used to that for 3 to 5 days, even a week. It's going to be fine if he doesn't have his organ meat for a week. And then slowly introduce organ meat. Introduce some liver. Give it a few days till he's used to that. And then after that, introduce liver and kidney. And I just say those two because liver is a must, and kidney is the only other organ meat I can find around here. It's very difficult to find organ meat. I get kidney at the Asian grocery store, and they don't have anything else. So those are the two organs he gets. And just so you know, heart's not an organ. I can find heart, but that's counted as muscle meat. So that's it. It's a super easy transition. I know a lot of people get worried because they don't want their dog to get sick or get salmonella poisoning. Bruce has never had that. So from my experience, it's been great. Be very smart when feeding your dog bone though. Bone's a must. They have to have it either ground up or whole. But remember, never give your dog a cooked bone. That's when it splinters and they can cause a lot of issues in their digestive tract, get caught in there. It could even kill them. If you've ever seen a raw chicken wing or chicken bone, they're pretty bendable. They're easy to bend. The dogs can get through them pretty easy. But make sure you watch your dog, especially at first when he's eating, to see how he eats. Does he gulp? Does he take like a piece of meat and just swallow it? Does he chew it down a little bit? Because you don't want a bone to get lodged in your dog's throat. So I don't give Bruce chicken wings. He's 145 pounds. His head is bigger than my head. He would just swallow those whole. And I'd be afraid that it would get lodged down his throat. So what I used to do is I would just give him chicken quarters. They're about this big. And he's got to really chew them up and crunch them up and break them up before he can swallow them. So just play it smart. Use common sense when you're feeding your dog bone. I don't give Bruce any weight-bearing bones anymore. When he was a puppy, I used to give him the soup bones from a cow, the beef bones. I don't anymore now that he eats raw because I'm afraid he will think he can eat it and try to crunch through it and break his teeth, because obviously any weight-bearing bones a dog's not going to be able to eat. So stick with your turkey necks, your turkey thighs, your chicken thighs, things like that. If you have a small dog, chicken wings. Yes, even Chihuahuas can eat a raw diet, people, and they can get through the bones too. You need to feed your dog about 2 to 3% of his ideal adult body weight. So don't feed your dog 3% of his body weight if you got a fatty on hand. That's just going to make him worse. Find your breed. Find the standard average weight for your breed and what you feel he should be, and give him 2 to 3% of that. So for easy math, let's say the ideal amount of food for your dog a day is 1 pound. So out of that 1 pound, 80% of that's going to be lean meat, which means 0.8 pounds will be what you feed your dog of lean meat that day. You're going to take 10% of that 1 pound and give him 10% bone, which will be 0.1 pounds of bone per day. And then 10% or 0.1 pound of organ meat a day, with half of that being liver. And that's all there is to it. And then once your dog gets used to eating raw, then you can start introducing new meats, introduce beef, give them 3 to 5 days before you introduce a new meat to them, maybe some rabbit, some duck. Some other tips, there's lots of Facebook groups out there, but I'd highly be careful with them because a lot of them are militant, like extremely militant. They're like, no, you have to do it this way or you're gonna kill your dog and it's gonna scare you and just make you crazy. That's half the issue with this, is there's just so much information out there. And it's not necessarily wrong information, but the way people put it out there is it's the only way to do things, and I highly disagree with that. So that could just make your life more difficult if you go to those groups and start asking questions, because a lot of them are super militant, like, no, you do it this way and that's the only way you do things. And lastly, remember, you're dealing with raw meat. Your dog can eat raw meat, but you can't eat raw meat. So for personal safety, hygiene is a must. Clean up the floor. I use vinegar and water to clean up the floor because obviously I don't want my dog licking chemicals off the floor, and if he drops food in the floor, he's going to eat it off the floor. I use vinegar and water. Wash your hands super good. Make sure your dog's not walking through raw meat. If he steps in it, wash his paws. Don't let him lick your face, obviously, for a bit after he eats, because he just ate raw meat and you don't want to transfer any bacteria to you. And that's basically all my tips for feeding your dog raw. And this is just a very, very basic beginner guide, just to hopefully help you guys get started. It's not a scary thing. You don't have to spend a ton of money on raw. I do, because Bruce eats about 5 pounds a day and he's still extremely lean. You don't have to go buy these commercial raw dog foods that are like triple the cost. Just go to your grocery store, look at the ingredients, make sure there's no added sodium or anything crazy like that in there, and you should be pretty good to go. I almost forgot, do you need to give your dog supplements? I don't think you have to, but I know I'm not perfect with his diet, so just as a backup, I like to. I give him a multivitamin every day, joint medicine every day, and CBD every day, per vitamin hemp daily, which I just started giving him a week ago because he hurt his leg, and that was a game changer. It was a complete game changer. I can't believe the results I got from that. If you're interested in that, go to my previous video and check that out. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and check back later for more. What do you want to see? Let me know what you guys want to see. What do you want to see? Do you want to know how I trained my Corso to be the most perfect dog ever? I'm not joking. He's like the one in a lifetime dog. He's amazing. And then if you're watching this and you do feed raw, share your experiences down below. I'm sure we're a community here. I'd like to know what other people are doing as well. So let me know. Let me know what works for you, and I'll talk to you guys next time.